Well, it's an honor to be here again for another pod and video cast of RDS Talks. I'm here with the CEO, Gustavo Hermida. Gustavo,
Hey,
how are you
Jack.
doing today?
I'm doing great, Jack. How are you doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Are you enjoying this beautiful South Florida weather?
Absolutely. And I know that here, some of our employees are in other parts of the country, and it's they're getting all kinds of extreme weather. So it's always good to be reminded that in South Florida we always have good weather.
Amen. This is paradise. Yes, well, as you know, this is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. And for those who don't know, that this is basically this awareness month. It's held every March, and it offers healthcare providers who care for patients with diseases of the colon and rectum a valuable opportunity to educate their community about these diseases and promote awareness of the importance of colorectal cancer screening, prevention, and treatment. So again, as you know, a lot of men, uh, not a lot, but some men get diagnosed with this, and if it's not caught early enough, it can be a one of those silent killers. So this is very valuable month of awareness. And I know RDS team and RDS Foundation is very socially conscious. Can you share a little bit of your thoughts about this month and what it means to you as a man and as someone who probably has dealt with people who've battled cancer themselves?
No, indeed, and obviously the issue is bringing awareness. I mean, I'm personally have done all the necessary colonoscopies, and after I crossed the age of 50, and it's been a while now, and all the advice to everybody is to be able to be preventative and do it. So this anything that we can do to bring awareness. A lot of our clients that are in the healthcare industry, um, we that we support in their everyday needs of office technology. Um, Sometimes we forget that what we do for them helps them fulfill a much greater cause, and the greater cause is to bring awareness and to bring health to many of their patients. So this is what we feel that our piece of the puzzle needs to be very efficient in order for the medical teams to do their job efficiently as well.
That's great. That's great. And I know that that over the last 20 years, you guys have really worked with a lot of health industry um, hospitals and health centers.
Mhm.
What would you say are some of the challenges that you found that healthcare executives, CEOs, CTOs, chief technical officers are facing, and why is it that they end up sometimes outsourcing to a company like RDS?
Well, that's a great question, because obviously, a lot of people look at the obvious, and when they look at our industry, they look at the obvious, and that is okay that we print a document and we help print a document efficiently, and that's obviously, um, but for that document to be secure, it needs to be set up in the right environment, okay, so that there is patient confidentiality
Okay.
with all of the documents that either get print or scan. And that is a conversation that is a little bit deeper, but it has to do with the technology solution that we offer. Um, uh, we are more and more conscious about security. Obviously, in the healthcare industry, we always talk about HIPAA compliancy, and I always said HIPAA compliance is nothing more than at least make sure that you have put all of the measures in place to be on an efficient environment.
Hmm.
It's sometimes nearly impossible to stop a cyber attacks, okay? But at least if you've done everything in your power to set up your environment so that the information is secure, you have the first line of defense. And we live in a very litigious society. So those are the little things that sometimes get overlooked by an organization. We want to make sure that we bring that conversation forward so that you can plan. You know, an investment in technology may be a prevention versus a legal problem later on. Okay, those are some of the conversations we like to have with our healthcare providers.
Yeah, and I know that uh, some of the experience that you guys have had when it comes to like security and governance, which is ultimately, I think, what you're talking about here is being able to protect information and make sure that those printers, those copiers, those machines are secured in the right environment. But I know that even like on your site, it talks about healthcare systems also struggle on how to connect disparate healthcare entities after mergers and acquisitions. So a lot of times people don't think about when like health centers join forces, two different institutions will merge into one, or maybe two departments are becoming one because of efficiencies that they're trying to create in, whether it's due to capital or staffing, that sometimes the integration of equipment sometimes needs consulting. It needs help to ensure that there's smoother integration and consolidation. Is that something that you have felt is a problem that sometimes healthcare systems struggle with internally, or is that something that you think that it's better for them to outsource?
Well, that's a very big question. So the one thing I could say about it, and of course there's a lot of movement in the healthcare industry. You talk about mergers and acquisitions and system integration and whatnot. Um, the most important thing that we want to talk about it, a lot of times some purchasing departments or some of the healthcare organizations, they look at an organization like that as let's look at just the cost of putting an image on paper, and that is one important question that obviously needs to be addressed at the right time. But before we look at the cost of how much does an image cost to be put on paper, let's think about, do you need to put the image on paper? Number one. Okay, so there is part of the consultation. Number two, um, when what are the levels of scrutiny that you're putting an employee to have access to print? For example, many of our clients have department ID management or RFID card readers that can give
Mm,
somebody a right to print or release a document from print. And like I said, it all has to do to make sure that if you have an employee that properly identifies the device, prints a document, and then eventually you need to go back and back trace that transaction. Because of the security ID, you will be able to backtrace that transaction, and that is part of what is important to look at when you have proper controls. Besides, you also controlling costs when you are tracking your prints, and when you are saying to an employee, print what is necessary, but print what is necessary, and you put a control, you are going to reduce unnecessary printing. Okay, and that eventually is going to lower your operating costs. So, like always, what I say to what we bring, the value that we bring is, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation early with any um, administrator in the MIS department or in the administrative department or in the financial department. Let's understand the things that are important to you, and then let's, at least in whatever solution we recommend solutions that will make sense for your protection. Okay.
sure,
I,
sure.
I know I know we started talking about colorectal cancer awareness, and but ultimately all of those things have to do with bringing awareness. We bring awareness to the community about, hey, make sure you check yourself regularly. And we also bring awareness to um, administrators of a healthcare facility about, hey, be aware of all the things that you need to look at before you make a final decision about what is the best technology for your organization.
Yeah, and obviously it's all tied because it's the medical community that's actually screening and helping bring solutions to people's colon, and internal medicine is so critical. But again, for them to have the right equipment and the right tools and the right guidance when it comes to stuff that really I think they should worry about, because these first responders, these individuals that have risked their lives, and I thank God for all of them, from administrative teams, executive teams, CEOs, to to practitioners, the providers, the nurses, the janitorial staff. I mean, healthcare, when your life is on the line, I mean, these are the people that you just like play a huge role in our lives. So, and I'm really excited of how RDS has taken a strong position to be engaged in this industry. And I know that Alan German, he's a major accounts rep with RDS who deals a lot with the healthcare industry. I mean, the guy's like, you talk to him, I mean, he knows so much of the nuances of the industry that they face because he's dealing with major accounts. But when we come back for episode 2, I want to talk a little bit more on the healthcare subject. And I want to ask you some questions about administrative efficiencies as it relates to some of the equipment and consulting that RDS can bring. So we'll be right back to keep having this conversation.